While Malaysia Airlines has been adding new destinations to its network, the Malaysian flag carrier has been hampered by aircraft reliability issues and delivery delays. This has resulted in flight cancellations since late August and service reductions through the end of the year. A few months before recording this video, I had a Malaysia Airlines flight which experienced a significant delay attributed with technical issues with the aircraft, something I was convinced that was linked to the ongoing fleet issues the airline was dealing with. So that brings up this edition of Travels with Flights in Asia, which I'll share my experience of a delayed flight from Kuala Lumpur to Manila on Malaysia Airlines, and how the airline staff handled it. Hello and salamat from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, where we start in an early afternoon on the highway bound for Kuala Lumpur International Airport for today's flight between Kuala Lumpur and Manila, Philippines. The flight featured in this video was originally scheduled to depart at 8:10 in the morning, with no indications that there would be any issues. Based on the various reports, the flights between Kuala Lumpur and Manila were not affected by the flight disruptions and cancellations that the airline had announced. So I went to bed early the night before, expecting to catch the early morning flight and be back in Manila by noon. However, as I mentioned, the flight had a significant delay, and I got a notification from the airline via email that the flight was delayed by about 12 hours, with a new departure time around 2025. After getting more sleep and going around Kuala Lumpur later in the morning, I decided with the daylight to head to Kuala Lumpur International Airport early to get some video shots for the channel. Located 50 kilometers south of Kuala Lumpur in Sepang, the Kuala Lumpur International Airport, or KLIA, is the biggest, busiest, and main air hub of the city and Malaysia. It serves as the main hub for the Malaysia Aviation Group airlines, including Malaysia Airlines and budget carrier group Air Asia. If you are flying internationally from another country, KLIA is likely the airport that you'll be using, though there are also domestic and international flights operating out of the Sultan Abdulaziz Shah Airport, located closer to the city center. At KLIA, you'll have two terminals. The first of the two terminals I'll be bringing up is Terminal 2, which is the main budget carrier terminal, serving the likes of the Air Asia Group carriers at Kuala Lumpur. The other terminal that our flight will be operating out of today is Terminal 1, also known as the main terminal building. This is where Malaysia Airlines and most other full-service carriers operating to and from Kuala Lumpur International Airport will be operating out of. Upon arrival, while we can enjoy the architecture of Terminal 1, inside the terminal can be busy, though you can check in early at the Malaysia Airlines economy class counters. While you can proceed to immigration and do the pre-departure area, if you do have time, I do strongly suggest that you check out the pre-departure area, as there are some good restaurants, and also for those of you who are aviation geeks, there is an observation area where there are some of the best views of the airport. Around the time of my flight, it was a month of celebration of the commemoration of the Malaysian Federation, so the airport did have some cultural displays, including a traditional house. Personally, there are more food choices before the immigration checkpoint, though there are some choices even if you enter the pre-departure area. Those who are flying business class with Malaysia Airlines or are a premium flyer, you do have access to the Golden Lounge. Similar to Singapore's Changi Airport, the main security checkpoint for each flight is at the gate, though there is enough seating that can be found throughout the terminal building. There are different variations of seats, including those that have almost close to lie-flat seating, Though my recommendation, if you do have more time to spend at Kuala Lumpur International Airport, I strongly suggest to hang out more in the pre-departure area before going through immigration. Or time yourself to arrive at the airport with just enough time to hang out at the airport before your departure time, unless you do have lounge access, whether through flying business class or using your credit card. Meanwhile, as the hours passed, I kind of forgot that my flight was delayed until evening came as we were awaiting our aircraft. And our inbound aircraft would indeed arrive, a Boeing 737-800 with the older livery. It's an aircraft I'm all too familiar with Malaysia Airlines, having done a previous video with a Malaysia Airlines flight from Manila to Kuala Lumpur using the exact same aircraft type, though with the newer interiors. For reference, I have linked that video in the description below. However, as of date, Malaysia Airlines is still in the process of retrofitting all its 737s with the newer interiors. This is something I'll be bringing up later on, as we would have the aircraft with the older interiors for our flight. I completely forgot our flight was delayed as we were boarding, until a very friendly staff member at the gate gave us all a letter from Malaysia Airlines addressing the delay and passenger options, especially for those with connecting flights. Having been delayed for more than 12 hours, so there were some people who were not in the mood for any discussions, they just want to get home. Especially, I was talking to one of my fellow passengers who actually had connecting flights that they had to switch in order to make it to this flight. Despite the delay, the cabin crew greeted us warmly as we made our way to our seats. Despite the older interiors, the seats were still comfortable enough, with an in-seat in-flight entertainment system, which was probably the more disappointing part of this flight, which I will explain. Besides the mandatory safety card, I do appreciate airlines like Malaysia Airlines that still have their in-flight magazines. While waiting for a flight, the flight attendants passed around the earphones, which, while not the greatest, it's something I still do appreciate. As our new planned departure time passed, the captain would announce that our flight would be further delayed due to traffic at the airport, so we would be waiting another 10 to 20 minutes before we would push back from the gate. More than 12 hours after our scheduled departure time in the morning, we were finally bound for Manila late in the evening. And because we had the in-flight entertainment systems, the Malaysia Airlines in-flight safety video was played. Not long after the completion of the safety video, we would then taxi and make our way to the runway for our takeoff bound for Manila. Now back to the in-flight entertainment system. The in-seat screen is actually a touchscreen, which wasn't that responsive to my commands. The same could be said with the remote. The difficulty of browsing the entertainment options was such a shame, though I did manage to set it up to watch the most recent James Bond film. Soon it would be time for dinner, and I had the Korean bibimbap, which while I do wish there was more meat, overall it was a pretty decent meal. Besides that, I'm kinda still wondering why Malaysia Airlines offers more than enough peanuts. After dinner and all the trays were collected, the lights were dimmed, and soon we were about to start our descent and landing into Manila. As we conclude this flight report, here are my thoughts on the whole overall experience. Let's not forget that this flight was delayed by more than 12 hours, as we were supposed to depart in the morning and be in Manila during the daytime. Instead, we landed just after midnight the following day. Any flight disruption is an inconvenience on passengers, though we were properly informed through email about the delay and were able to make the adequate flight adjustments if needed. Meanwhile, for the in-flight product, Malaysia Airlines is still in the process of retrofitting its 737s with the new interiors, which does include the Wi-Fi entertainment system, which you can connect your mobile device to watch and enjoy the in-flight entertainment options. While there is a good catalog of entertainment options, the difficulty of browsing it just makes the experience much worse than it should be. Regardless of whether the old or new interiors on the 737s, the overall in-flight service was good for the most part. In conclusion, this flight experienced a significant delay attributed to a technical issue, which is part of a much bigger and ongoing problem that the airline is facing regarding its fleet. As the new aircraft deliveries, including the 737 MAXes, can't come soon enough, the airline needs to address its ongoing maintenance issues. Otherwise, more customers will be affected by flight delays and cancellations. That's all for now. I definitely hope you enjoyed this video. This has been another edition of Travels with Flights in Asia. Thank you for watching and have a great day.
Tuan dan puan-puan, selamat datang ke lapangan terbang antarabangsa di Lumpur-Manila. Sila berada di tempat duduk anda dan tanpa kayu.